Hi guys, this is Stan. Welcome back to my channel. How are you all doing? In today's video, we will see will I keep subscribing to my Goldsboro GSFF. If you don't know what GSFF is, it is a monthly sci-fi and fantasy book subscription that is based in the UK. Their books are either YA or adult and can be in different subgenres. Let's say you can have epic fantasy, you may have romantasy, you may have sci-fi, you may have thriller, you may have mystery, you may have historical fantasy. So the range of subgenre that you can get from this book subscription is actually quite diverse. If you have followed me for long enough, you will know that the first book I have got from them is from last October, which is What the River Knows. And I didn't quite like that one. After almost 10 months into this book subscription, I find out that most of their books are always a huge hit and miss to me. I either would be like very into it, very enjoy thoroughly reading that book, or maybe I nearly need to DNF it or DNF the series. I have made 2 videos for all the books that I have got this year, so if you are interested in those previous books, you may want to check them out later. I pay for this subscription, so I want to make this whole experience worth it. And currently, I am in a state of overwhelmed with all these subscription books, I'm not gonna lie. So in today's video, we're gonna read the August book, The Palace of Eros, together. What I want to do is, of course, finishing this one and give you my thoughts along the way. But most importantly, I need to decide by the end of the video, shall I keep my GSFF subscription or shall I give it a break? I really do need to make some strategic decisions here because I just find it not easy to keep up with all those subscription books. So let's talk about this book, The Palace of Eros, the one that's gonna decide the fate of my subscription. If you can't tell by the title of this book already, this one is inspired by the Greek myth of Eros aka Cupid and his love story with a mortal woman called Psyche. But in this book, Eros would take the form of a woman, so this is a lesbian relationship. I have actually finished part 1, Earth. We are introduced to these 2 main characters, Eros and Psyche, but I would say that the focus is much more on Psyche because her chapters are always longer. From her chapters, we know that she is a very beautiful woman, living with her parents and 2 older sisters. But as the female in this family, she is destined to marry somebody else. Also because of her beauty, Aphrodite is jealous, so she asks her daughter Eros to take care of this woman. At the same time, the weather is not great, meaning that the crop didn't grow well. Also implies that people can't feed their cattle. So they see it as the signs from the gods, blaming Psyche, angering the gods, and this is a punishment for all of them to suffer. So Psyche's father asked for the advice from the oracle, and the answer is send Psyche to marry this monstrous husband, left her on a cliff. But turns out it is all the plan of Eros. She is so attracted to Psyche and decided to marry this woman. So far, I find the writing of this book is very beautiful. I would even say it is the best in this aspect for all the books that I have read. Through these chapters, we also see the oppression of women. The plot stresses quite a lot on how woman is being mistreated in the world of men. Let's say why men can do certain things but women can't, or why women are confined in certain social norms. I think this is quite clever to put this kind of discussion into a fantasy world. But I do find the pacing of this book is a bit on the slower side. With the writing the author want to showcase, it would take quite some time to get to the point in every chapter. And you know me, I do prefer a shorter chapter rather than a very long one. But unfortunately, Psyche's chapters are always so much longer than Eros. So this is just my personal taste, but I don't quite like this kind of arrangement. At this point, I can't really say am I enjoying it or not. I am still quite new to this genre, Greek myth retelling with a very beautiful writing, so I guess we shall find it out later. Hello guys, I have just finished part 2, Palace, which is also the longest of this book, and I mean it is like nearly 200 pages long for this part. This part focuses more on the marriage between Eros and Psyche. After the wedding, Psyche was taken away by Eros and started to live in this massive gilded palace. It is like a safe space for them because no one knows about its existence, so they can do whatever they want in here. Psyche never knows about the identity of this husband, so she was quite shocked when she finds out Eros is a woman. And I mean, at that time, a lesbian relationship is not encouraged. Eros also set out some boundaries about this relationship. Basically, Psyche will never know the identity or appearance of her husband, and everything gonna happen in the dark. From Eros chapters, we're gonna know the reason behind this kind of arrangement. It has more to do with his past between the gods. So Psyche can only see Eros in the dark at night, and what they will do is like keep having sex. I mean, what the hell is going on? I know Psyche was like mistreated before and she does deserve some loves from others, but after getting married, what you want to do is keep having sex with Eros. Without a doubt, they both care about and love each other, but I just find that there are just too much intimate moments. When Eros is away, Psyche will spend her time alone, but sometimes she does feel a bit lonely and miss home. She got a really caring mother as well. So she asked Eros to bring her siblings here and see how each others are doing. This supposedly happy family reunion moment also gives a chance for these sisters to ask about Psyche's husband. But Psyche knows nothing about Eros other than all the sex. This curiosity did kill the cat. Psyche broke the rules and checked out the identity of her husband. But before this final act, Psyche did feel a bit suspicious about the identity of Eros because sometimes Psyche didn't tell her some details about this family reunion, but Eros knows all these details. So Psyche did question about the identity of this mysterious husband. This part I would say the writing is still beautiful and I don't think I need to repeat anymore in this vlog because it is just beautiful and lyrical. Through this forbidden lesbian relationship, there will be some discussion about women's rights and also gender identity. Let's say why men can think freely but women has to be confined to certain social norms, or maybe men confines women because they are scared about what women are capable of. As for gender identity, Eros, this character, is gender fluid. She can be in any form she likes, so there will be some dramas about this gender fluid identity with other gods. But most importantly, she just wanna be her authentic self and please her other half. So why should she be monitored or under the control of other gods? She just want to be herself. This kind of elements I do appreciate in a fantasy book because I still find it quite rare to focus so much on this kind of discussions in fantasy book. But the problems I have still persist. Let's say the writing is beautiful without a doubt. But I feel like sometimes the author try to showcase her writing but forget about the progress of the plot. I do have certain occasions when I find this kind of lyrical writing a bit redundant. I also find Psyche's chapters are always much longer. It would just take so long to get to the point in terms of the plot, let alone we still have like discussion about women's rights and gender identity. I just find the balance between the writing itself and the plot is a bit odd. This problem does affect my reading experience as a whole. At this point, I can't even say, am I really enjoying this book? To a certain extent, I'm not gonna lie, I feel like I am obligated to finish this book because of this vlog, but I'm not blaming you guys, this is my idea, right? To be honest, I don't think this problem will get any better because we are already 70% into the story. We are nearly the end with 2 parts left. I do hope it will get better, otherwise I need to cancel my subscription. Good news here, I have finished part 3, Heavens of the Palace of Eros. This part is actually much shorter than the first two, so this explains why I can finish it so quickly. For this part, Eros left Psyche because she felt betrayed. Also because of this mistake, Aphrodite, Eros' mother, know what her daughter is up to secretly. So in this part, we're gonna focus more on this mother and daughter relationship, and Eros gonna open up about her feelings to her mother, Aphrodite. At the same time, Psyche wanna make up for what she has done, so she asks Aphrodite for help. But Aphrodite set up a very difficult task for her. She has to pass 3 trials. I forgot to mention this in the last update, and it is a big news. In the last part, we actually find out that Psyche is pregnant with Eros' child. Oh my god, what's going on? So coming to part 3, we know that Aphrodite is aware of this news, so there will be discussion about this forbidden child. Eros is gender fluid and she can suddenly have male genitals. So earlier in the story, we know that Zeus is aware of Eros' power, and after finding it out, he wants to see how Eros please her other half in bed for 9 times. This sounds fucking scary, guys. So in part 3, we're gonna know why Zeus wanna do this monstrous thing. It is because the other half of Eros gonna bear a forbidden child, and it gonna violate the divine law, which implies a baby should be perceived by a male and a female. I think this kind of discussion about the divine law can also be applied in our world. Let's say who gonna define this kind of divine law of a proper relationship, and why queer people can't bear a child because it gonna violate this divine law. Which once again, I think this kind of arrangement is quite clever to put this kind of philosophical morality discussion in a Greek myth retelling fantasy world. These elements are great, but I do still have other problems when I read this book. The focus of this part has shifted from Psyche to Eros. I do find the trials that Psyche has to go through is a bit too easy for her, compared to before how detailed things can be. Now coming to these trials, I feel like the author don't see it as like the major part of the plot, so everything is mentioned quite briefly. I mean, the first 2 trials are so easily done, to be fair, but before you can write characters in such a detailed way, you're gonna take your time with the plot, but coming to now, I feel like we are rushed to the end. I find the discussion about gender fluidity or divine laws in Eros chapters are great, but because majority of the time we are following Psyche, we are thinking from the mind of her. So when once again with all those beautiful words, all those beautiful lyrical sentences describing how Eros feeling, I just find it a bit hard to connect to this character. In the story, we did have some chapters about Eros' past, but we are just in the head of Psyche for too long. Eros is always the character in the background, the one don't want to be seen in the relationship. So I do find it difficult, find it a bit hard to feel for her as a result. And I am not too sure about the author's ability to do a Greek myth retelling. If you have done some little research about Psyche and Eros, or if you have heard about this myth before, you would definitely guess the plot so easily because majority of the plot is based on this framework. The good side about this kind of arrangement is the author don't need to care too much about the plot. She can focus on what messages she wants the readers, us, to take home. The downside about it is if you are a plot-driven reader, or if you have heard about this myth before, you won't be surprised about what is going on in the story because you will have guessed all of them already. With more than 85% into the story and only 1 part left, I have kind of made up my mind. I still think it is a good book with all those lyrical beautiful writing, but I am just not the target reader. Quite a lot of time I did struggle to keep up what is going on. I think my GSFF subscription is in danger, I'm not gonna lie. Next time when you see me, I will probably finish this book already, so I will give you my final thoughts about it and also will I keep this book subscription. So see you later. Hello guys, I've just finished the last part birth of the Palace of Eros. I don't know why I kind of feel like happy and relief, not because of the story, but the fact that I have finally finished this book. I'm not here to say that this book is terrible, you guys shouldn't check it out, but I am definitely not the target reader for this book. Maybe we can talk about what had happened in the last part of this book. In short, Psyche finished her last trial, which is to retrieve a box from hell. And then it will be the reunion. Both of them, Eros and Psyche, figure out what they want after they depart. The wounds of them has healed, but these shattered pieces build up the person they can be now. In this marriage, they don't want to limit themselves to just like husbands or like you should be the wife. They just want to be with each other. When Psyche lit up the lamp and see the face of Eros, it symbolized shattering the old way and opening up the new path for them. Also with the girl Psyche is now carrying, they want to make the world better. They don't want any more girls to suffer the same fate as Psyche, bullied by men or like live up to the standard of the man. I feel like this book is like a letter from the author to those who gonna read this book, especially if you are a woman, you feel a bit lost about who you really are or how you should identify yourself in this world. You may find your answers by reading this book or you will feel empowered after reading it. But I still got the same problems when I read the last part. The writing is fantastic, but I just find it not substantial. There are not too much emotions to support all those lyrical words. Sometimes all of these beautiful sentences can be packed in just one single paragraph. It does make the pacing feel a bit odd. Another problem I have is we focus too much on Psyche but not enough Eros. Most of the time we will be following Psyche, and I know that this book is like a letter, it's like a story that Psyche wanna inspire others. But I just feel like Eros, this character, is quite distant. I feel like I don't really know much about her. I also feel like I don't quite know much about this relationship between Eros and Psyche. Since they are together, majority of the time they will be having sex or masturbating. Occasionally, we may have some discussion about women's rights or gender identity. Other than this, we don't really see much about this relationship, how they really are when they're together. I know it might be a bit weird to say because this book is like a love story, but I just don't feel like I know much about this couple. At last, coming to the most important question, will I keep my subscription? To be honest, I haven't made up my mind yet because this is such a big decision to make. I don't know how long I need to wait if I quit and sign up the wait list again. But what I am thinking is to skip as much as possible unless I find titles that I am into. I have already skipped the September book because it is a romantasy and it is a subgenre that I don't really like. Not sure about October because it is a spooky season, so the pick is gonna be a horror one. I'm not sure how I feel about it because I don't really read much horror, so I don't really mind trying it out. November, I judge a book by its cover and it doesn't look nice to me, so probably I'll skip it. December is another Greek myth retelling, but this time it is an epic fantasy, so sounds quite nice to me. So my answer to the question is I am so determined to skip most of the books. For the rest of the year, the one that I really want to try, the one I'm quite curious about is the October book, which is called Strange Beasts. The rest a bit meh, maybe the December book. It is a Greek myth retelling, but after the Palace of Eros, I'm not too sure how I feel about it, this subgenre. So I guess we shall see what I would do once all the skips are used. I guess at that time, I will just simply cancel it. So if you've enjoyed today's video, don't forget to give it a like. If you don't want to miss any content from me, make sure you have subscribed to my channel. I'll see you real soon. Goodbye!